Good afternoon, St. Martin, and everyone watching and listening. We are here today with another installment of Men's Mental Health. And first of all, happy International Men's Day to all the men, all the fellas out there. Give yourselves a pat on the back. We made it through another year, and we're here. Thank you very much. So we're going to start off today a little different since it's Men's Day. We're not going to do a coffee fact. We're going to do a mental health fact. And today's mental health fact is mental health conditions have nothing to do with being lazy, weak, and or incapable. You know, many people and many factors contribute to men's mental health, and these factors can be biological. Things that happen chemically in your brain, stuff you can't help, such as genes, life experiences, things that you've gone through, social pressures, abuse, trauma, and also family history of mental health problems. So just because you have a mental health issue or you're going through something that is a mental health issue doesn't mean that you're less of a man, weaker of a man. It just means that you're human and you need to do what everyone else does. Just go find help. All right. And with that, we're going to continue the beginning of our men's mental health talk.
Take it away, Nelly.
Nelly, go ahead.
Guys, thank you for that mental health fact. So what I want to discuss with you guys today is, our mental health journey.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I would like to be a little bit vulnerable right now, because I know this is a safe space, and PFP always allows people to express themselves openly.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be transparent about my journey as well, because there might have people out there, men, young boys that face these challenges, and if they hear someone else talk about it, maybe they will feel more open and more comfortable to approach their peers or a mentor or a psychologist that can help them.
Definitely. Knowing you're not alone is definitely something that helps a lot.
So growing up throughout my younger years in St. Martin, going to Christian Hillside school. Oh, we have
Hey guys.
else.
Hey, just popping by. Good job.
Always good to see Ray's face.
That's our brother. That brotherly.
I can see it, but I'm very funny right now.
Growing up, going to school at Hillside Christian School, I was teased and bullied a lot, and I went through periods of darkness. I had a lot of anger bottled up, and I hated my life. And I always wondered, like, why me? Am I the only person that is going through all of this bullying, teasing? And I didn't want to go to school. Of course, I had these very dark ideas of hurting myself as well. So I wanted to express that here with you guys today and everyone who's watching. Of course, I went through all of the different things, that you would hear growing up, being a Haitian kid, to go back to your country, even though you was born here on the island. That's the only thing that you know.
Yeah.
And you have kids that are telling you to go back.
But that's learned. That's learned behavior.
Yeah,
for sure.
that is true.
That's learned behavior.
And one thing that stood with me is that the teachers were supposed to be people that I trusted, that would stand up for me.
They should have been your protection.
Exactly, right? So I felt like there were no adults, there were no mentors, no one to look up to, that I could go to school and say, hey, I'm having an issue right now and I'm looking for help. So I just felt helpless. And that is my journey with mental health, is that I felt like I didn't have the help, that I could go towards someone and tell them, hey, I'm going through a very dark moment. I need help. How can I resolve these issues? So that is my personal journey. And something that I lacked was having resources. What are resources that I can utilize to help me go through this very dark period in my life? How can I access information? So accessing information was hard, because at that time I didn't have access to a computer and I didn't have access to the internet.
Yeah. And going to the library, that was my main source of getting access to a computer and internet for a good bit in my youth. And there's something you said there that was very important too, is that saying that one of the resources you didn't have were adults that could give you that free space to be able to communicate what it is you're
That
going
is
through.
sad.
And that's something that, you know,
Really sad.
yeah, growing up, I had the same problem, you know, especially in high school. You know, my mom, me being from the Dominican Republic, being born there, I was raised here all my life. My grandmother from here, everybody, I have a big family. But just knowing that I could speak Spanish and that I had the Dominicano roots, people would make fun of you, oh, the Spanish boy, this, that. I was skinny and tall, so, you know, that came with its own thing. I was, you know, the cousin of lamppost, giraffe, this, you know, some of the names are cool, but some of the other ones not so cool. You know, and you would, just like you, I had moments from even before high school where I had mental health, you know, issues where my environment changed really quick when I was very young. In 1995, yeah, in 1995, before Hurricane Lewis, I was 8 years old, and there was a situation in my family where my parents were taken away from me for a while, and I was stuck with people who were to me strangers, complete strangers, and the adults around me. I learned very, like I said last time, I learned at a very young age that adults can be very cruel, and I had to learn how to deal with these situations without having an adult that was around. Luckily, I did get to know my at the time Mr. Cooks, my father, the gentleman who gave me his namesake. And he was very instrumental in how I started thinking. He started reinforcing my mind as a young man, telling me, you know, stuff that I can wake up in the morning and do. Like I said, he was one that said a real man doesn't let the sun hit him in his bed. So to this day, I still wake up 4 o'clock, 4:30.
That was also my grandfather.
You see that? You see that? You see, and that man, Arthur Coates was born 1920. I remember he told me. Yeah. You know, and at 8 years old, after Hurricane Lewis, I was on the roof, tarring the roof. You know, and I had to learn how to use a jigsaw tool. Saw. I couldn't use a power tool even though we had it. You got hand saw. Yeah, hand saw. Like a real man. You know, and it was being able to have someone around that would give me a little bit of reinforcement that took me through some of the darkest periods of my life. I too tried to take my life when I was young, and I can tell you, my earliest age, I was 7 years old when I first started doing that, and it was because of who was around me. It was because of, you know, at the time I had another stepfather who was a horrible example of a man, and from a young age I learned that he was not really for me. And I had to learn how to adapt around that because I saw that he wasn't going anywhere.
You know, Marvio, I truly love what you brought up, because it is so important for us men to have role models in our life.
Yeah,
people that we can truly look up to. Because the story of my childhood sounds completely different from yours and Nelly's, where I had a wonderful grandfather and wonderful uncles who, to me, my grandfather was a superhero. You know, so I didn't go through what you went through, but it just goes to show how important it is for you to have strong male role models in your life to bring that next generation.
It's very important.
You know,
it's very important, and I think that we overlook that, and we overlook it, and sometimes I think it's a two-way thing because some of us have male role models, but those male role models are still not, I guess, for lack of a better word, healed. You know, they themselves are still going through some mental health things, and so the things that they use to cope are the techniques that they use in order to you know, pass it on to you. But those coping techniques usually aren't the ones that usually help. You know what I mean? Me growing up, I remember I never wanted to be married because I remember seeing, you know, some of my uncles or any other older man that I saw either dreaded going home, or, you know, the best times that I see them have would be with their fellas in the bar or something, and then they would still dread having to go home. So to me, it was like, why would I wanna have this if it's just,
if it's so terrible?
Yeah, if it's so terrible. So, you know, but it took me meeting a man that, you know, had a healthy relationship with his wife, had healthy relationship with his family, and then I started to learn, oh, okay, so it's really not about what everybody else is going through so much. It's really about finding what it is you want and finding the people that can help you get to that point mentally and sometimes physically, because we try to overlook it, but for men specifically, it's very important for us to keep ourselves not only mentally active but physically active. This doesn't mean just going to the gym. This doesn't mean only doing exercise, but we have to be able to do something that, for you, I know it's cars. Yeah, that's your hobby. That's something you do. For me, early on in my life, it was drawing. I would sit down and draw all the time.
So you need an outlet,
Yeah, you definitely need an outlet, and you need to have one that is healthy.
Correct.
Because men, statistically, men are more prone to turning or susceptible to turning towards alcohol and drugs to deal with it. And in the Caribbean, specifically in St. Martin, we have this, I guess, a mantra or a saying, be a real man. You got to do it on your own.
Yeah.
You got, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And, we have this idea about masculinity that says that, if you're going through something, so for example, if I come and I see Lucho and I'm like, yo, Lucho, how you doing? Even though if Lucho might be going through the worst, he might be contemplating, taking himself out tomorrow. And he will tell you, I good.
Never been better.
That's it, And that's something that was kind of programmed into us, even especially in the Caribbean, where it basically says that you have to face these things alone, that a real man does these things on their own, and that they're supposed to be able to not share what's actually happening with them, because then you're weak and then you're not really a real man. And I think that one of the things we have to do is definitely just break that and break those stereotypes. And not only just us as men amongst each other. This is one moment where I'm going to reach out to the side, to women out there, and say that you guys also help a lot. If you have a gentleman or man anywhere around you that you care about in whatever capacity, just give him a compliment, or just saying, hey, thanks for.
I can attest to that. I have that at home. Lucky for me, she lends me her support whenever she can.
That's good.
There's nothing more beautiful than that.
It makes a difference. It could be the smallest thing. It could be the smallest thing. Look, today one of my younger sisters sent me a message, saying Happy International Men's Day and thank you for everything that you do. You're a good influence on young men, and she appreciates me. And that, it might just be a text message to others, but to me that may, and it lets you recenter yourself and realize that the voice that's in your head that's telling you you're not enough, that you have to do more, and that you might not be making the amount of money you want to make. And that's one of the biggest things, because we as Caribbean men, we know growing up you're supposed to be the protector, the breadwinner, the this, the that, and if you're not reaching those societal standards, you feel like you're not enough.
That's very true.
And we need to move away from that. So today we're going to be talking about some things that we do. We're in a safe space. We've been vulnerable, and we want to be able to speak to you guys about some of the things that we do in order to keep our mental health healthy, and to keep ourselves more than just going, because I think that's something that we also do a lot of on St. Martin as dudes. We just do just enough so that we can make it to the next day.
Yeah.
And then
I think I'm in that period.
And then the part, the quote unquote winning comes from being able to punish yourself a whole another 24 hours. So we have to be able, today is International Men's Day. We have to be able to learn how to unlearn the things that stop us from being able to be kind to ourselves and being able to speak to ourselves in a way that's more motivating. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things you do, Nelly?
So the resources that I use in order for me to de-stress or restart are number one, sports. I love to do MMA. One of my outlets is to release anger, release frustration. And with BJJ, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or even Judo, it's a great physical activity where I feel like I'm being challenged and I'm overcoming adversity. And something that complements that balance with is mindfulness. So I do acro yoga as well. I do acro yoga with Marvio.
Today was cool.
And also Marlon as well. Patrice came once.
Patrice.
I haven't been as well.
I went to lift you up,
I
Patrice.
don't know about that.
I will be a strong base. We need you there.
Am I though?
We need some guys. We need some guys.
Yeah, man.
Physical activity and mindfulness, I combine those both because yoga is a very good practice in order for you to achieve, that level of Zen, or if you want to, have a different approach towards your mental health. I think meditation, we also do massages, so it helps you to relax your body, and it also helps you to trust your partner or your friend, your significant other if you're doing the acro yoga with them. And I think those are very important aspects in mental health in order for you to have a healthy relationship, especially with your friends or whoever is within your circle.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I use to de-stress or reset.
Oh, nice. And it helps.
And it helps. And what about you guys?
Well, I like me. My schedule is full time, much like many other people on this island. But I do find time, especially on weekends, to read. I love Star Wars books. I love Star Wars in general, and I have the books from the stories like Revenge of the Sith, Story of Bane, the Book of the Sith,
Right.
and I like to sit down and just read stories, even though I know the old Star Wars story. It's nice.
The app, the app that you go DC.
Yeah. DC Comics as well. I have Marvel Comics. I love Marvel Comics as well, DC Comics. But I definitely like to sit down and read. I like writing. Sometimes I will just write short stories to myself, anything that comes in my head. Drawing, like I mentioned, was my first passion in life. And I've been trying to reconnect with it because I haven't done it seriously in a long time. And now my daughter has has a big interest in art, primarily digital art. And she wants me to teach her to draw. So we sit down and we draw certain things from time to time. We drew Sonic together. And it's always nice to see her reaction to knowing that her dad used to draw or can draw. Because a lot of the time children don't think that you were a kid ever in your life.
Oh, no. And, you were born grown.
Yeah, in their mind, So, and that's one of the things definitely that keeps me going, to want to look for ways to heal myself and to be able to stay healthy mentally. Another thing I like to do is go to the beach. I love going to the beach, snorkeling, hearing the water, the sound of the water underwater. It makes me feel relaxed, So I find times, and a lot of times it's maybe 15 minutes. If I get an hour, I'm happy, But I find the time to do it because I realize that, again, we have been conditioned to just chug along.
Oh, yeah.
Just chug along, get through it. And we've attached our masculinity to a definition of punishment for ourselves and speaking to ourselves in a way which, doesn't really help our mentality. Because if you can't live up to that, it doesn't help. One other thing that I have learned to do, and I learned this mostly from my wife, because she was a big supporter of this. She always said, Marvio, you need to learn how to celebrate the small wins, the small things. And I struggled with this. I struggled with this. You know me. I struggled with this because for me, I always look at the big picture. I look at what I want done. And if that isn't happening in that way, Murphy's Law tends to happen. And it can be very demotivating for me. And I've learned to celebrate the little things. So a task that you've accomplished that goes towards, progressing, for lack of a better word, you should celebrate it for sure.
So, how do I? Right now, life is extremely busy for me. Working the 2 jobs, and then I have a full-time job as a parent of an almost 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And it has been a wonderful experience to be a parent. But you tend to have a less time for yourself.
Yes.
Growing up, I loved to play drums. That was my main distress. As I've gotten older, the band isn't up and running anymore. I love motorsport. Putting something together, and then having it work, and that's your own work. You've put your all into it, and having it do what you want to do. There's something that's just amazing in that. And then, you know, I came from the church, and so I grew up in choir.
Oh yeah, I was choir boy too.
I sing every day.
Every day.
Every day, all day, every day, all day.
So it's not just on Call of Duty that you're pulling.
I sing. And if you guys have seen, I posted a video today of my son.
Yeah.
He was singing Ballad of Black
I
Sheep.
saw that.
He sings all the time as well. I guess he's gotten that from me. But because, you know, I've been a Christian, and for me, hymns, they tend to melt away some of the pressures that I'm feeling. You know, it may not work for everybody, but you have to know what works for you.
And that's
one of the things.
That's very important when you said there. Find what works for you. And that's the thing is that, you know, and make sure it's healthy. You know, make sure it's something that isn't a detriment to your own personal or physical health. You know, but you have to find something that works for you. What might work for Nelly might not work for me. What might work for Lucho might not work for me. But that doesn't make
not doing the percentage.
But you know, whatever.
Nelly also want to fold me up and go.
Nah, man, we just got
this is not origami. It's not origami.
I feel like you're a very aerodynamic person.
Me, I'm a brick wall.
You do well. But you know, we got we have some feedback from the crowd, guys. We have Random Ray. Random Ray, good to see you again, man. Always a pleasure. He said that, right? He says, do you think social media with the internet now, especially with this rise of red pill content, which has its pros and cons, is affecting men more now than the age before the massive rise of social media?
I think so. I think the red pill concept is, and you know, I'm going to use this word lightly, even though it's a very sensitive word. It plagues the minds of men.
Yes.
And I think men that are insecure, they're influenced by these sorts of concepts, and it only motivates or inspires speeches to not empower women and objectify women even more. I think having a more balanced or more equal level conversation with men to make them feel a bit more secure in who they are as men is to empower women. I think that shows how powerful you are as a man. If you highlight the strengths of a woman, the different values and aspects of that. For me, I would like to have a woman that is smart, that is intelligent, that is successful. She can make more money than me. And if I have to be a stay-at-home dad while she goes out and bring in the money, that's not going to make me feel lesser than anyone. It's going to make me feel happy because, I have someone that is dependable, that's someone that is independent and doesn't need me.
It's a teamwork.
It's a teamwork, and I know our relationship is based on love, you know.
And that's something that I think we as men, and for those, because the red pill concept might be something that's not familiar for a lot of other people. It basically, taking the red pill is basically being more, how should I say, aware, like politically aware of inherent social biases and especially things that include like mainstream media between men and women and other things. But the thing is, like Nelly said, I think that it can be a concept that plagues the minds of young men because, of course, we have to be very honest. There are the times when me and you were dating, and those times are completely different now. I always say today, I'm glad that I'm a married man because I could not deal with all of this. It's a lot.
My toes back in that one.
Not at all. But the idea of pitting men against women or women against men is a bad idea in general to me. I think everybody has something that they bring to the table. And we as young men, we as older men as well, speaking to younger men, I know I have a young son. And even with my daughter, I would like to be able to guide them through, as much as you can with advice that is proper. And this red pill concept can really plague the minds of men because it's making you feel like you have to have some kind of stature above, or that you're weak right now somehow, and that, you know, the opposite sex is getting ahead of you because you're not doing enough of your part. And it's not true. It's not that at all. The world has changed.
Yeah.
We have to, as men, be able to do what is asked of us, in a sense, is to be able to guide. We are supposed to be able to have emotional intelligence to understand that the world is changing and to change properly with it. So Random Ray, yes, social media is definitely affecting the way that young men are interacting with women, and vice versa.
Just to want to say vice versa.
Yeah, and vice versa. We as the most I think that we can do as young men is, like Nelly said, we have to become strong in the sense of sure with ourselves. Being strong doesn't mean that your strength has to be comparable to the strength of another man in any kind of way. Every man, I think we talked about last time, every man has a skill or something that they bring to the table. And just because you don't share that with someone else as a man doesn't mean that you're less of a man. So be sure with yourself. And then once you're sure with yourself, everything else kind of falls into play because your mind is strong enough. You become emotionally intelligent and you can understand that, yes, my significant other might bring more money, but guess what? When she wins, or when they win, I win.
Exactly.
A win is a win. We're a team. And I think that's where we have to start moving towards more as a society, instead of this, oh, who's in charge of the relationship or who is in charge. Is not a corporate agreement that you're coming into. You know, it's supposed to be, hey, I'm here for you and you're here for me. So with that red pill concept, you know, don't, like I said last time, protect your gates. You got to be able to know what you're leaving into your mind and make a decision that you're going to control the way your life goes, and that you're going to do that based on your own experiences. And you're going to take time to actually understand yourself so that you know how to not only react, but actually respond properly in situations.
And to piggyback off of that, we're moving into a modern society where traditional roles of men and women are changing, and it's even changed right now.
Yeah.
So like I said, you know, you'll have women that are in these corporate roles that are no longer staying at home, taking care of the house, and you'll have men that are going to be stay-at-home dads, probably, that might not be the breadwinner, and that's okay, because that those are signs and indicators of a modern society will always be transforming as a culture. So
Definitely.
I think we have to be open for change, and I think the change that we're seeing right now is good. I mean, it's a good trajectory and it's progress.
And being able to talk about it too, you know. But I gotta say, one of the things we definitely have to do, and is a barrier here on St. Martin, is therapy. Being able to find a therapist, psychiatrist, someone that you can actually sit down, a professional, and have conversations with. Because when you know, that's something that I wished I would have done earlier. You know, like I said, growing up, I was a very anxious and confused teenager. I experienced a lot of things in life that made me start thinking differently. And I wish that I had persons that were more open to understanding what was happening. You know, there's a joke in that I even saw online that I was like, whoa, this is so funny. It's a Dominican joke, but it basically says that you could your mom or your parents would believe in the devil, voodoo, all kinds of other things, but the second you come and you tell them that the second you come and you tell them you're depressed, they're like, what's that? That don't exist. And that's something that's you know, it's a Dominican thing too, but it's a Caribbean thing. And one of the barriers is being able to know to seek help. You know, we have to be able to be that generation that can tell even our kids or our younger generation, hey, seek professional help. There's nothing bad in that. You know, we have this stigma here on St. Martin that the second somebody tells you, well, I ain't crazy. You think I'm crazy? And it's not, you know, it's not that at all. It's that when you have a problem with your heart, you go to a cardiologist, right?
Yeah.
When you're having health problems in general, you go to a doctor. So if you're having car problems, you go to a mechanic, not you, because you are the mechanic.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to be okay with finding the professional help that helps you. And I'll say, Martin, it's very difficult to do so because we are limited in that, and we have to focus our energies to being able to not only attract more, you know, psychiatrists and therapists to the island.
You know, they're starting to leave.
Yeah, but then we also have to promote being able to use the internet. You know, there's better help, for example, online. First of all, we do not have any connection with better help. I'm just mentioning them as an example. No sponsorship at all. All right, just want to put that out there. You know, but that's one example of a medium that people can go online anonymously, get help from professionals, and be able to, you know, have that safe space and have that professional help to let them be able to bounce their issues with someone that can actually help them go through that. And yeah, so I wanted to put out to the crowd that's watching, what's something that you do or something you wish you would do or could do to help you with your mental health as a young man or as an old man, as whatever. Yes, a man. And you know, and another one that I wish I knew at a younger age was that it was okay to let yourself feel bad. Because, like you mentioned, a lot of the times as men, when we have issues emotionally, for some reason, it always turns into anger. Like there's always a certain level of frustration. We could be sad, but somehow we filter it into the anger box, and that's how it comes out. So then it comes out as toxic masculinity. And actually, if you think about it, we as men have never really been conditioned to say, all right, go ahead, Lucho, let it out, cry. Gun on my shoulder, you know, and you say, look,
I'll say, you know,
yeah.
Even today, I'm not, you know, you won't catch me just, you know,
we won't do it, and we have to be able to, you know, maybe crying isn't for everybody, but you have to be able to find ways,
like, you know,
express yourself.
And to identify it. One thing I like to do, another thing I like to do is lists. You know, they know I like to say I love lists.
Yeah,
I love lists. And
hate lists.
and I would write down how I'm feeling to the best of my abilities. Am I actually feeling sad? Why am I feeling sad? What about this situation is making me feel this way? You know, what's caused it? And then if it's something that's making you, you know, think existentially about yourself, thinking about your own existence as a man, write down, why is it that I think this way? Yesterday we had a great, first of all, we went along, we didn't even stop. Guys, it's Nelly's birthday. Oh, yeah. Nelly.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday to you. And yesterday, we had a conversation. No, we're not there. One line. YouTube. But copyright, the virtual copyright. I don't know who owns it. But we had a really great workshop at one of the events yesterday, and he mentioned about unlearning certain things. So what's something that you unlearned, Nelly, as a man that you know, it might have been a little difficult, but it helped you?
I unlearned that the stereotype to go and seek help doesn't mean that you're crazy. I also unlearned that you shouldn't keep your emotions bottled up. Like you said, you know, having that emotional intelligence to feel what you're feeling and display your emotions. So if you want to cry, it's okay to cry. We have this concept or this notion that men don't cry. But scientifically, all of us have tears.
Yeah, of course.
Tears,
have tears.
Yeah.
So if you break it down to science, you know, I'm not sure it's a science. So he could break it down to you. You know, we all have those emotions. You know, all of those chemicals are within us, and it's important for us to actually seek the guidance, seek the help. For me personally, I have a psychologist. I had a coach as well. I have a mentor.
That's nice.
So I have a powerful support system where whenever I need advice, career-wise, you know, I would ask my mentor. Whenever I have some issues that are going on, psychological, you know, I go to my therapist. And if there's something that I need motivation on, then I go to my coach. So it's always good to compartmentalize all of these different issues that you have and seek the resources that you need. And of course, you need the access to that. And the internet plays an important role. So those communities that are impacted by not having access to the internet, I know it's very difficult, but right now, I think a solution to that is seeking positive role models that you can depend on, that you can trust, that can help you and guide you in the right direction. And that's why your friend circle, the people who you surround yourself with,
make a big difference. Make a big difference.
Positive people, people that are driven,
And
don't be afraid.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid to cut someone out.
to cut someone.
They're
Exactly.
not that person
Exactly.
for you.
And that's something that even as men we have to be okay. We have this homie idea,
Yeah.
and regardless of whatever the homies are doing, we tend to be loyal to them because of time. And I think one of the things we have to unlearn is that time also changes, and things change with time.
Yeah.
You grow.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
To change.
And it's okay for things to change. One of the things Nelly mentioned there is that support group. And that's, like the old people say, show me your 5 friends and I'll tell you who you are. You need to be able to find people that, and they might not be people that you hang out with every day, but you need to have that support group, because having someone that you can reach out to in your most difficult times makes a big difference. We as the Samaritan men need to walk away from this idea that I gotta do it on my own. I gotta stand on my own to be a real man. And even Jesus had disciples, my guys. Like, so you teamwork is teamwork one way or another. And we have to be okay with finding that. And you have to be okay with and it might not even be a guy. I know one of my mentors after hurricane wasn't a guy, but this lady, she really how should I say, she encouraged me to do things in the community, encouraged me to look at things differently. And sometimes your mentor might be your significant other. They might be someone that's real close to you. So, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that something might be wrong and you need help. We as men need to be okay with accepting help. And another issue that we have on Samaritan is that we as men don't know what mental health foundation, what role they play.
I still don't know.
You see? So we don't know what role they play. And to be honest, I'm kind of in between on some ideas, but I would like to believe that you should be able to contact them if you're having any issues, if you're having any thoughts that are detrimental to your own life, anything that's going on. You can contact Mental Health Foundation. I know that I had a situation with a friend of mine who, contacted me, and I was very, very happy. And I gave him compliments after for being that brave. He called me and said, "Hey, I'm not doing well right now, and I'm thinking about taking my life." And I dropped everything that I was doing, and I got to his house, and talked him down and asked him if he was open to having a professional come, because as much as I am his friend, you sometimes, and that's the thing, you got to be okay.
Things might be out of your
and it might be a little heavy for you, it might be a little heavy, but if you're a true friend, I think you wouldn't just leave your friend hanging, even if you don't know what to do yourself. I think it's good to know who you can contact to get help. And I was able to contact the Mental Health Foundation, and they were able to send someone out. I waited right there, and they sent a professional out that came and sat with my friend and asked them the important questions that I didn't even know. You should ask someone, but they knew the process. And at the end of the day, I'm very happy to say that person is here with us today still, and he is flourishing now. He's looking to do his own business. He's talking, his whole demeanor and language, his vocabulary completely changed. And all it took was, him reaching out. And that's what I'm saying. The help that you're looking for. It's not that nobody cares. On St. Martin, especially, things are rough, and everybody's working to survive. Not many are thriving, and everybody gets kind of stuck in their own world. And we forget to check up on friends and family.
That's very true.
But that doesn't mean they don't care about you. And we as men need to get away from that notion that we're alone. There are many others that are going through some of the similar things, and being able to find communities, find a Facebook group that's positive, that has a community that talks about these things and where you can share. Find wherever it is that you can share and get the help that you need. And remember, do it responsibly. Do your best to turn away from drugs and alcohol. It doesn't really help. It doesn't help as a coping mechanism. We have to be able to find healthier ways to do so. And again, if you're having issues, or someone that's having issues, you can contact the Mental Health Foundation. They will come out. They will help. So I'd like to let everyone know about that for sure. What's one more thing, guys, that we like to do?
Just to add to that, Lucho said that he still didn't know what mental health offers, their services. And what I think is important, maybe to highlight, maybe there's more people that don't know what
Yes,
mental health offers. And
It's not a maybe.
That's for sure.
That's a
For
sure.
sure.
Sure. Okay. So idea for mental health to expand their reach is communication
Yes.
and how they can leverage social media and the internet to reach a wider audience, and also doing in-house workshops within the schools. I feel that in order for us to reach the wider population, I think it needs to be an initiative and a concerted effort from mental health to actually do outreach programs to go into the communities. You have the different community centers in St.
Yeah.
Peters, Dutch Waters, Simpson Bay, and you can do several workshops. And it can be for free, for instance, and you can have some incentives. You come to these workshops. We're going to provide you information, and you can win a prize.
Yeah, or even be able to get some of the psychiatrists or professionals that many people might not be able to book because they're overbooked and they have no space in the schedule. Being able to bring those professionals out to the communities and in a setting like that can help, because you might not be able to get that one-on-one, but you can get the information from a professional, and exactly, like steps, what to do. And I think that's something that's very important. We need to be able to do that. And that's something that I like about, the party that we're with, PFP, because we really do think about these things and we do it. You've been doing workshops in the community since before PFP, and that's something that we like, because you continue to do it and it's from the heart. I've done youth basketball because that's something that helps me. That's something that I know made a difference in my life as a young man. Being able to have somewhere where I can play sports with my fellow peers, other student athletes, made a difference in my life. And I can imagine that it'll make a difference in a lot of young men's lives, especially those that might be latchkey kids. They don't have that support system at home. When you have a coach, when you have teammates, when you have fans in the crowd that are giving you, that support that you might lack at home, it makes a big difference. Because again, a lot of the times what hurts us as men is that we think we're alone and we have to deal with it ourselves. And we don't talk kindly to ourselves. We think that tough love is the only love men can have. And that's not true. It's there. We must have we also have to become caring and intimate with ourselves in a way, so that we can show that, the next generation as well, and even our younger ones, that, there are healthier ways to deal with these things. So tell us, Lucho, tell us, what is it, before we go out of here, tell us, what do you think, men, specifically on St. Martin, knowing our reality here, what do you think are some things, that can help young men on St. Martin? Some things that they can do realistically, some things that, we can see ourselves doing.
Let's think about this question. Like you said, you have to find something positive to put that energy that you have into. I know. Well, I guess when I was growing up, it was all sports, most of my friends were in some type of sport. I guess back then it was all basketball just about, and some softball. But you really have to find something that you have a passion for, and that can be an outlet for you whenever, the going gets tough. As I said, for me, when I was young, it was drum corps, by the way. When I get some time again, I'm gonna rally the band together, because it is so important to have things for not just young men, but for our young people in general. Skills that they can develop. In drum corps, you develop discipline. You develop a love for music, and music can be a beautiful outlet. Stuff like that, but you have to find a passion, and I know that's difficult to talk about in these times when
things are
you're struggling simply to get by. But just take some, or maybe just take some time out for yourself.
So, that's very important.
Just take time out for yourself. Sit down, self-reflect. That's something that I had to do throughout my life, was sit down and kind of like assess myself. Where am I right now? Where do I want to be? How is my mind at this moment? How do I feel? That's something that we as men really need to do.
You have to be very self-aware. Very self-aware. Nelly?
For me, what I would advise for my community would be to do extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
I really love kayaking. I do scuba diving. I know it's an expensive activity, but there is a program out there for the underwater coastal cleanup where they actually sponsor you if you are open to learning about scuba diving, and if you have a passion for cleaning up your island, then they would actually pay for your course for you to learn. And it's
Could you repeat what that is again? Because I want to do that. So that's
It's not scuba diving. I want to see what's under there. No.
Underwater coastal cleanups, the St. Martin underwater coastal cleanup.
So that organization is St. Martin Underwater Coastal Cleanup. And what do they do?
So you sign up to that program, and if you're someone that is passionate about your environment, you're an advocate for change, you're not afraid to go dive in and pick up plastics, pick up plastics from the ocean, Hurricane Irma debris. Then what they would do, they would sponsor your course, and everyone who knows about scuba diving knows that these courses are like $600, $700, and not everyone has that cash lying around just to do an extracurricular activity. So it's a really cool program. It's a nonprofit, and you also contribute to your community by picking up plastic from the ocean. And we had Hurricane Irma in 2017.
Yep.
And it devastated the island, and there's still debris in our oceans right now. So you're playing a very important role in your community by removing that debris. So that's something that I do, and I feel like that helps me a lot because I feel like I'm contributing to something that has a bigger picture, and that the generations that are going to come are going to live in a much beautiful St. Martin. And other things that I do, I think I mentioned kayaking.
Yeah.
So I like to do extreme sports.
Adrenaline,
yeah.
All
Get
right.
that blood pumping, So
Right,
so these are so these are the things. So these are the things that I would advise.
Side note: do things that go with your age.
Yes.
Follow your knees, man. I like to say follow your knees. Your knees are the check engine light. You know when to check it. But yeah, definitely thanks for that. I know something that both of you mentioned that's very important is discipline. You have to develop a discipline, and your mental health is also just like working out your body. It's the same thing with your mind. You have to revisit it. You have to continuously put the work in, and you might not notice any changes immediately. You have to be able to trust the process. You have to find a process that helps you and trust that process. I know for me, it was working out. I always wanted to gain weight. I was a paper in the wind all the time. I remember people used to make fun of me. Yeah. But I just make it look easy. I take a look at you. You look at a Subway sandwich. Bam, 20 pounds. Me, I'm eating 2 Dominators. Nada. Nada.
I want that kind of.
It's a curse. It's a curse. I keep telling you. It's a curse, but I developed the discipline of being able to, wake up. Like that was early in my life, waking up 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. But I combined it with my new goal, which was to gain weight. To be,
that is the best time to be in the gym.
Yeah, to be physically better than what I thought I was. I got tired of being told that if I step on a crack, I'll fall right through it because I was that skinny. And I was underweight, I'm not gonna lie. Several times in my life. I know. Man, tell me if you're turned sideways by a lamppost, But it was things that at first it hurt me. But as I grew up, I realized, I can't control what other people see or say. Right. But what I can control is how I take that information. And I didn't let that information come into my head any longer as an insult. I took it as a measure of myself because it was something I too wanted to change. Yeah. So I was able to take that and I said, you know what? I'm going to work out. And I started at home because a lot of us like to dive into the deep end. And I'm going to tell you right now, especially with working out, that's not going to work. You're going to burn yourself out real fast. What I did was I stayed home for at least 2 weeks, and I started getting the habit of waking up in the morning, eating something, especially carbs. Carbs help you in the morning, like an oatmeal, something like that. And then waiting a couple of minutes and knocking out, at first it was 20 push-ups. 20 push-ups in the morning before work. Now I'm up to literally 200 push-ups in the morning before work. And then, yeah. And then later on, in the day, I would go to the gym. In the morning, I wake up for something in the morning. 200 push-ups. Today, before I came here, I did 175. 25 a set. It's 25 a set. But that might not be your thing. But what I'm saying is that you have to find something that helps you and do it consistently. Get into the habit of doing it where it becomes a discipline. So much so that not doing it makes you feel weird for the day. Makes you feel weird for the day. So it's like not brushing your teeth. You feel weird. You got to do it. And that's basically how it is for me now with working out. I'll wake up in the morning. My daughter knows. She even jumps on my back. She knows. She knows Daddy's gonna wake up in the morning. He's gonna eat something, and then I'm on the floor doing my sit-ups because I want these abs now and my push-ups. Yeah. So definitely some of the things that can help you as a young man, as a man, is one, find the help. But before that, acknowledge that you have a problem. Yeah. Acknowledge that something is wrong. If you find yourself, going off at the most little things, you find yourself getting angry over the slightest thing. Yeah, you need to identify and acknowledge and be okay with that there is something here that's not okay. And then after that, find the help that you need. Start looking for resources that fit either your schedule or for things that help you decompress and de-stress that fit your schedule and your budget. And also your health. Make sure that you're responsible with it too. And then another thing that I found that helped a lot, other than doing that, is being okay with finding someone who you can confide in. Find someone that you can confide in, even if that someone might be a little book. I started writing a little journal. Getting things out one way or another. I see that. But I think that your journal is the progress you make with your cars. Like I saw you with that turbocharger. That's yeah. I mean, joy. Yeah, pure joy, jollification, the purest kind. But find someone that you can confide in, and then the other thing is, if you can, let that person be a professional. Let that person be a therapist, someone that you can sit down with and have that time. And then another thing, find something that makes you feel happy, and be okay with that. And speak to yourself, be kinder to yourself. I think that one is one of the ones that would help a lot of men, especially today with social media. If you look at male empowerment videos, a lot of them open up like, yes, you're strong. You're not strong. That's why you don't have a Bugatti and you don't have this. And whereas you're this, you got to be strong. What are you guys watching on the internet? No, the internet is a toxic place. It's a toxic place. And we need to be able to, be more realistic with ourselves and understand that just because you're not making how much you want to make right now doesn't make you any less of a man. Just because you're not driving what you want to drive right now doesn't make you any less of a man. Just because you're not, at a certain physical peak, fitness that you want to be at the moment doesn't make you less of a man. As long as you are still working towards your goals and you're doing so in a healthy manner and in a way that doesn't hurt the people around you, you'll be fine. So we're getting ready to wrap this sucker up because we got other places to go. I got some family time that helps me a lot too. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you guys have no other questions, this is something that we would like to put out towards y'all because we're definitely going to follow up, putting a post out there. Let us know what are some things that you personally, as a man, do in order to make sure that your mental health is okay. And if it's nothing right now, what do you wish that you could do more often in order to help yourself? What we got there?
I'm looking and I'm
Mark S'more and Burr said, happy to see all of you, just the way you are, like a lot of us. Yes, we are. And I think that's why this is very important to us to share that, you're not alone out there. Many of us have gone through a lot of things, and the exterior that you see, somebody told me once, Marvio, you look at you like nothing ever happened to you. And I'm like, bruh, If I could tell you just
Every day.
between the ages of 4 and 8 years old, I've had more trauma than many people that I know. And it changed my life. And it's why I smile a lot, because I've gone through so much and I've seen how horrible people can be, not just at any stage. I've had adults that treat me like a dog when I was 9 years old, and I still remember it. And and today I feel real great. This might not be healthy, I don't know. I'll have to find a therapist to talk about. But today I feel great knowing that I've not only surpassed the things that they said I would never be, but I've done so in a way with my health still intact. And you have to be okay with the fact that not everybody is going to be for you. And some of the people that you wish would be for you aren't, and you have to be okay with that. What you have to do is what Nelly and Lucho said too. You have to surround yourself with people who want to see you win. You have to surround yourself with people who are not looking at you with envious eyes. They clap for you genuinely. They are there for you whether you're going through it or not. They might not be the person that's calling you every day, but they know that, hey, if they haven't heard from you in a while, they'll check up on you and be like, hey, did you eat today? Are you all right today? You have to find persons that are like that, and they might not come from your immediate circle, and that is okay. But you have to start finding persons that are like that. And the first place to start with is in here. You have to talk nicely to yourself. It was the hardest thing for me to deal with growing up, talking positively to myself in a realistic way, not just like, oh, I'll be fine, la, la, la. No, you have to you have to be able to actually take an introspective look at yourself. You have to be able to actually, I say it again, list out what you want, list out how you're going to achieve them, and put real achievable goals and dates to them, and you'll find yourself going. I started with 20 push-ups. I said next week I want to be able to get to 30. Now it's 200. Yeah, with time. So guys, as we see, it's International Men's Mental Health Day, and we're in November, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Again, like I mentioned, make sure that you surround yourself with good people, and take a look at the men around you and let them know how much you appreciate them. Whether you're a man or a woman, it goes a long way when a man gets complimented or told something nice. It's not something that we experience a lot, especially these days. And for you young men out there on the internet looking for help, looking for a path to solidify your own masculinity, I like to tell you that you need to start inside. Do not let anybody outside of you define what you are supposed to be as a man. Inside, you know what your goals are, you know what your expectations for yourself are, and you need to find healthy ways to achieve them. Do not allow persons that are outside dictate your masculinity to you based on something that they are doing. Because a lot of the times, the guys that are doing that, or the people, the women that are doing that, are doing so projecting their own failures onto you. And you need to be able to protect your gates and step away from that. Find people that are there to see you do better. And that's basically it. And the first person that wants to see you do better is yourself. And you need to look in the mirror and tell yourself that I am going to do better. I am going to be better. I am going to be okay. I won't give up. There is something in the future for me. Legacy is something that I can achieve. Happiness is something that I can achieve. And it's not something that you reach. It's something that you continuously work on. And my mental health is going to be better because I'm going to look for the help that makes me achieve a better habit of having positive mental health. So we're gonna be out of here. Make sure that you are a positive influence on the men around you, and that you create the safe spaces that they need in order to share.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another engagement
to go to.
Yeah, so
and
wonderful, guys.
Thank you, Random Ray. Thank you, Mark. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Mishnella. We see you out there. Thank you. Boop, boop, boop. You know how it is. Pat, pat. Yeah, thanks for the pats. And we're out of here. Marvio Cooks, Nelly Blaise, and Luciano Nicholls on Party for Progress. Bye.